recording sound.
Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for attending this session this afternoon. You could have chosen to be anywhere, but you decided to hang with me for a bit, and I'm very grateful for that. My name is Dr. Latoya A. Webb, serving as Tau Beta Sigma's National Vice President for Professional Relations. I am also the Assistant Director of Bands and Assistant Professor of Practice and Conducting at the University of Texas at Austin, so hook up. I am a life member of the Epsilon Sigma chapter at Norfolk State University in Norfolk, Virginia, which is a historically Black college and university. If possible, could you please navigate to joinpd.com and enter the code that you see on the screen. Today we will use Pear Deck to become as engaged and active as possible. So if you are, a future educator, or if anything, any type of profession and you may have to present, Pear Deck may be great for you to use, and you'll get a test drive today using it. So all responses are anonymous, so please be sure to share your thoughts and perspectives with confidence. I would like to thank the National Council for today's invitation to present, and I am excited about the active work in the area of diversity, equity, inclusion, and access in Tau Beta Sigma. So let's go ahead and get started. Make sure that you are in our joinpd.com so that you can type or whatever the action may be for you to do, so that everyone can, follow along. So let's see, could you go ahead and represent your district? Where are you from? This gives us an opportunity to learn about our community that is here today, our Zoom community. All right, we have Southeast, we have Midwest. I am from the Northeast District with Epsilon Sigma, but right now I'm in Southwest at the University of Texas at Austin. All right, so we have another Southeast District. That's awesome. Hello. Now, let's go a little deeper with our community. What led you to join Tau Beta Sigma? What was it? Some of us will have the same responses, so let's see about everyone's perspectives. And I will always show responses to allow everyone to see, and since this is recorded, it's also great that everyone can see it when they play it back. So we have service to the band, developing deeper relationships with fellow band members, providing service to the marching band. Sisters seem like good role models and fun people to be with, and service to the band and sisterhood. So as I stated, some of us will have similar answers, and that's great. So today we will discuss courageous conversations, DEIA in the sisterhood, brotherhood, and family. Family can pertain to your band program. Usually we express that band is our family. And it also can pertain to your campus community or other non-music organizations, or any other space that you feel like is a family. I do want to warn you that this presentation may contain sensitive information since we are speaking about diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. Just know that this is a safe and brave space to acknowledge personal bias seek understanding and empathize with others, and also to share your knowledge and experience. We must make each other aware and advocate for change. So the mission of the session is to discuss diversity, equity, inclusion, and access, and how chapters and members can support and elevate those efforts in their band programs and school or department of music. Here are our objectives during the session. So we will discuss and learn about DEIA, share perspectives and ideas to become active agents, DEI agents, and continuously reflect on self and purpose. When we do DEIA work, it's important that you reflect upon self. In order to help others, you have to help yourself first. Objectives when returning, and you may want to take a picture or a screenshot of this. Because these are actions for you to take when you return to your respective organizations and places, band programs, institutions. So when you get back, you should be able to confidently present solutions and plans to administrators and band directors. Investigate your institution, band program, and chapter demographic data. Vigorously put plans into motion to start DEIA work. Oftentimes we get stuck just discussing and talking about it, but we have to keep propelling to get to actually doing the work. Evaluate and measure the active solutions and plans for continued success, and continue engaging in courageous conversations to enact DEIA work in your organizations and programs. Diversity may include, but is not limited to, all the above. So go ahead and take a look at all of these traits and characteristics. And if you need to take a screenshot of anything, please do so. But again, this will be up on the Tau Beta Sigma for Greater Bands YouTube page. Equity is the guarantee of fair treatment, access, opportunity, and advancement for all, while striving to identify and eliminate barriers that have prevented the full participation of some groups. And as I go through these words, these definitions, you will notice that some things are bolded, and that's because I really want them to resonate and stick out with you. Inclusion. But if we want to be more actionable, the word is inclusivity, which is authentically bringing traditionally excluded individuals and groups into processes, activities, decision, and policy making in a way that shares power and ensures equal access to opportunities and resources. Access is the commitment for everyone to be included in all programs and activities. So I want you to think about the question below. Are you doing the work to create a structure that is benefiting Black, Indigenous people of color, BIPOC, disabled communities, women, and the LGBTQIA+ community in your chapter and band program? Is that work actively being done? This is self-reflection. This is the diversity iceberg diagram, which includes the waterline of visibility. And these are the many characteristics and traits that we as human beings are identified by. So when people see us face value, they tend to make assumptions about the traits above the waterline. So go ahead and take a look at those traits above the waterline. And as you can see, nationality, physical ability, ethnicity, wealth, social status, culture, religion, the line is barely through those. Well, what about the underlining differences that are below the surface? Take a look at those. Those traits and characteristics are important as well. So think about some of the things that people have assumed about you that are below or above the surface, and go ahead and check those out. I want you to, what is the one thing people assume the most about you? And drag your dot on that demographic, that characteristic or trait on the graphic item, please. And I'll let you know, one thing that people assume a lot about me underneath the surface is my education. And I don't know, maybe it's because I went to a historically black, college and university, but people often make assumptions about my education and how well I may be educated. So as we can see, we have dots on gender, life experiences, sexual orientation. And this is, great to be aware of, because if others are making assumptions of these traits and characteristics about you, then think about all the other individuals, in your program, in your music program, or in your chapter, or that you just meet face value one time that make certain assumptions about you as a person, whether it's above or below the waterline of visibility. I'm going to go a step further. How did or do those assumptions make you feel? And what would you say to those individuals or people if you could go back and address them? Sometimes we don't say anything, but what really helps is when we address it in that very moment. And I'll give a little time for everyone to submit responses before I share all responses. And really take your time with this. Think about it. Self-reflect. Go back to those moments or that moment. And I want you to see, what we have to say about what some have said about us, or what we think about them and how we would address them. So we have a good window here. We can see our responses. So just take a look at what each of us have to say, our perspectives, our thoughts. It depends on whether or not they assume correctly and the way I am treated based on those assumptions. What kind of actions happen after that? This is a vulnerable space. Again, it's a brave and courageous space. All responses are anonymous, so I really want you to be confident in sharing, whatever you want to say, because this, again, will be out for people to see, and that's how we help each other, by speaking of our experiences and our perspectives. Okay, so we have a little bit of an add-on on the very bottom perspective here, which is very valuable. So let's move a little further here. The academic environment, no matter, the level, is enriched and it's energized by a diversity of perspectives. When individuals feel comfortable and feel affirmed to bring their full, authentic identity into any space, collaborative spaces thrive through innovation, togetherness, compassionate understanding, and radical growth. So I'm just going to be a little bit more blunt and break DEIA down a little further. So diversity means being your unique self and owning all that you bring to any space to encourage the broadest possible representation. So, whoever you are, however you identify, you have to bring that person into the space. It's not about trying to be someone else that you're not, or act a certain way, or trying to mask your identity, or for some, it may be trying to be invisible. So in order to encourage the broadest possible representation and bring your unique self, you have to do that with anything that you carry, everything that you bring to the table. So why, I want you to think about this question. Why is it that many people only think about diversity as race, color, or ethnicity? Just self-reflection. Think about that. It seems like when people hear the word diversity, those are the first things that come to mind for a lot of people. So let's get back to our diversity slide. Look at all the things that make us unique and diverse as individuals. So for a lot of us, we have to get out of our own way and move beyond the traditional or the outdated diversity considerations for traits and characteristics. We are beyond those factors, as you can see here. Equity is constantly making changes to remove barriers, ensuring that all are treated fairly. DEIA work is continuous, it's never ending. So you're always thinking about what kind of barriers were already here in my chapter or in my band program before I even got here. And then what barriers have we added since we've been here? To prospective members or for the organization or for the band program. So you have to constantly ensure that you are removing barriers and trying to remove the barriers, and that you're acknowledging that there are barriers in order to help, everyone be treated fairly. Inclusion allows everyone to feel welcome and valued in any space or environment, no matter how they identify. You're welcoming everyone. Access means that everyone of all abilities is committed to fostering attitudes, behaviors, procedures, and championing diversity, equity, and inclusion to maximize all contributions the entity, organization, and community serves. So let's get into what Tau Beta Sigma does, right? This is Tau Beta Sigma's mission statement. We provide exceptional service to collegiate bands and promote equality and diversity, including empowering women in the band profession. We cultivate leadership, educational achievement, music appreciation, and community development. So we're just going to break this down just a little bit and stick with our mission statement here. So what exceptional services does your chapter provide to the band? Or did your chapter provide to the band? What are those exceptional services? Go ahead, type away, think about it. You can type in multiple responses if you want. You can drop a list. And I will show some responses. You all keep typing away. I just have these here on the screen for all to see. And this is a time where we can learn from each other. You know, maybe your chapter isn't doing something someone else is doing. So this is the time to, okay, let me see what's going on here. Maybe we could do this at our school. So check out the responses we have here, and some of you may do some of the similar things that are outlined here, or it may be something like, aha, well maybe we can do that too. Let me write it down or take a screenshot or something. We can take this back. Now I want us to take a look at this list, get a good eye on it, because I'm going to go a little deeper with my next question. Okay, here we go. Do these services welcome and make everyone feel affirmed and reflected? So you've listed exceptional services that your chapter or band program provide. Does everyone see themselves reflected and affirmed in these exceptional services? That is a yes or a no. Waiting on a few more responses here. And again, if you have not already, you could just joinpd.com, go to joinpd.com and type in the code that you see in the upper right hand corner of the screen, NVPDXARA. So we have 2 yeses and 2 nos, right? So this is a point of truly reflecting, like, beyond yourself and into your chapter and your band program and thinking, wait a minute, do these services really welcome everyone that's a part of the band or a part of the community? And this is a level of thinking that we should remain on in order to enact DEIA work. One step further. So for those of us who have said, you know, yes, what did you do to remove barriers and make people feel welcome, affirmed, and reflected? And for those of us who stated no, you know, how can you remove those barriers and make everyone feel welcome, affirmed, and reflected? Again, this process is about helping each other. We have one response. This is coming from both sides. What do you think you did to make everyone feel welcome, affirmed, and reflected? If you stated yes, and if no, what can you do to remove barriers to help people feel, you know, welcome, affirmed, and reflected? What are those actions that you think you can take as an individual or as a chapter or as a music program? So we have some responses coming in here. We are thinking. I'm going to go back to the question and I'll come back to the responses. Give everyone a moment to really dig deep and think about this, because you're helping both sides. So we have ensuring all activities have no bias in any way, that attract to all who like band. And you could go a step further with that. You know, how are you going to make sure that there is no bias in any way? Is that going to be a survey? Are you just going to, you know, openly talk to folks, build relationships, and get to know the members in the band and the members in your organization so that you can get to this no bias? Ensure our chapter is diverse so that we can hear all voices while planning events and projects. Again, we can go a step further with that as well. You know, how are you going to make sure that your chapter is diverse, and in what ways? We just saw that, you know, a long list of traits and characteristics. So remember that diversity, you know, is bigger than race, it's bigger than ethnicity, it's bigger than color. So thinking about all of those characteristics and traits to bring those into your chapter. And also thinking about, you know, talking, building relationships. Anonymous surveys are really great for some things, but sometimes they can also, you know, dampen the mood and become just kind of like a rant type of thing that's going on. So you may want to think about, well, how do I need to structure my survey? Maybe it needs to be less open-ended questions and more like a Likert scale, rating scale, or certain things like that, or multiple choice. So that you can kind of direct those responses in the area where you want them to go, instead of having, like I said, a cat or a dog fight or anything like that in a survey. Another thing about, you know, ensuring a chapter is diverse is that you all have to be intentional and purposeful with, you know, who comes into a chapter band program. You have to select, of course, and that's in the process. You have to purposefully select. You have to intentionally select. Oftentimes, minoritized communities, you know, they are just kind of left out and not feel welcome, not feel like they are affirmed, not feel like they are reflected. As well as, so that's anyone. That could be a part of the BIPOC community. It could be women. It could be members that are disabled. It could be members that are a part of the LGBTQIA plus community. So thinking about all of these things. Multiple events that attract, appeal to people of multiple interests and experiences. So again, going to that next level. Well, how are you going to learn this information about these people? You can't just make assumptions. So what is it that you're going to do to actually get to that level of understanding, right? Here we go. Ask ourselves, and our chapter membership is a reflection of the band programs we recruit from, and do our band programs have barriers? Yes, these are great things to be thinking about, because it's almost like a puzzle, like you want to work your way out of it, or like a maze. Okay, let's move forward. So we discussed equity and diversity, right? That's a part of DEIA. However, equality, which is outlined in the TBS mission statement, is not the same as equity. So I just want to cover this for a little bit here. Equality is the assumption that everyone benefits from the same supports. So this is equal treatment. Everyone gets the same thing, right? Oh, the whole band gets granola bars for halftime show. and water or Gatorade or Powerade or whatever it is that you provide, right? And equity is everyone gets the supports they need. This is the concept of affirmative action, thus producing equity. So as you can see here, and I'm sure you've seen this diagram or many others that may look like it, but as you can see, all three individuals have a box on the equality side. The box is the same size, there's a fence, and they're trying to watch the soccer game, right? And then when we move over to the equity side, everyone may not have a box, or one person has two boxes, because they're all different heights. But the barrier that is here is the fence, right? We could just totally remove the fence, and then everyone could see, okay? So you have to keep digging, and thinking about how you can remove barriers, even if you may not see it, like, spot on the first time. Like, what may be a barrier for someone or anyone? So I want you to think about one thing in your chapter or band program that everyone assumes is equal for all, like equal treatment, and then address how you can change this assumption into affirmative action. So what if the band got granola bars for halftime? Everybody. But in order to make that equity, let's say someone is allergic to granola or nuts. Well, they can't have that. So you would provide them something else, because that is the support that they need. So go ahead and think about one thing your chapter or band program, assumed that everyone needed, was equal for everyone. And discuss how you can change that assumption, which, kind of is equality, into equity, providing the support that people actually need. And I'll give you a little time to get your responses in. Keep them coming, keep them coming. And if you thought of something else, you can type that too. I've asked this question before with students, and some people talk about vegan and vegetarian food and how their program may order vegan or vegetarian food, but they don't ask them, what they want to eat as a vegan or a vegetarian. They just assume that, oh, they want a salad, or, oh, whatever it may be. But what if that person doesn't eat that? So yes, you are, being thoughtful and picking those options, but you haven't gone to the next level of actually seeing what they want or what they actually eat. So let's check out some responses here. All right, so I'll start at the bottom, providing soda to band members at the end of games. Changing this to water to accommodate everyone. What if some people like soda? It's at the end of the game, it's not during the game. So personally, I don't drink soda. I stopped drinking soda in high school. So water would be fine for me. But, what if it were someone else that actually likes soda? So you might want to have soda and water. That's how we can, make things more affirmative on the equity side versus the equality side. Giving everybody water is just kind of still on the equality side of things. We want to get on the other side, equity. We used to have a leadership position in our band that would be held by one guy and one girl. This upcoming year, we have made this into a gender neutral position. That's great. Availability, flexibility for last minute events. Not everyone can participate in activities at the last minute due to work or family obligations, which is very true. For chapter, consideration of t-shirt design, what others would feel comfortable wearing and fit and design. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been a part of programs where someone just picks a shirt and then, you have to wear it. Why? Because I'm part of the organization. So thinking about these things, seeing what the students want to wear, your chapter members want to wear, and things like that. This is where we dig into getting into the equity side of things. How can we provide the support and the treatment that people actually need, right? So it's always another level of thinking. Does your band program and chapter encourage the broadest representation? There's just a simple yes or no. Broadest representation. Remember, my spill about that is, allowing people to be their most genuine, unique, authentic selves. So does your band program and chapter encourage the broadest representation? However people identify. Yes or no? So we're back to our 2 yes, 2 no. Right? So we are in this space where we're thinking about this. What can you do as an individual to help people bring their most unique and authentic self to your chapter and band program? Just thinking like within, just by yourself. Like what can Latoya do to help people bring their most unique and authentic self to the chapter and band program? We have responses coming in. Being your own authentic self can really open up the space for others to do the same. It can. I strive to be Latoya every day, all day. So that anyone that meets me can say, that's Latoya, not say, what's up with her? Who is that? That's not the person I met last week, right? Like you want to be your unique self. Being that person at chapter meetings who asks if we are being inclusive when planning events. Yes, you can be that person. Hand up. Question. Placard. Wait, hold on. That's a great event, but not try to hide or cover up the authentic and unique parts of myself to others to help others feel comfortable being themselves. Yes, that is very valuable. It's important. And again, it will help to encourage the broadest possible representation in any space you enter and anyone else enters. Advocating for others who may feel uncomfortable. These are all great. So now I'm going to share with you an opportunity that may already be at your school or it may not. So let's discuss an amazing opportunity for your institution, band program, chapter, and community. United Sound is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide musical performance experiences for students with special needs through peer mentorship. The mission is to remove barriers and to foster social change through music. And Julie Duty, who you see on the left side, is the founder. And the website is unitedsound.org. I am the special projects manager of United Sound, so I would be more than happy to speak with anyone about this. But Julie, she's the person. But again, I'm happy to speak with you. United Sound partners with existing music programs on school campuses. Music teachers or students and their students utilize United Sound specialized program, training, and structure to create band and orchestra clubs. Musicians, the students with intellectual or developmental disabilities, are taught by peer mentors who are the students within the music program to play the instrument of their choice at a personally modified level. And United Sound students then join the full band or an orchestra to perform in a concert twice per year. So if your band has 4 concerts per year, 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring, the United Sound musicians would perform on at least one of those concerts. Or you could create a concert and just get chapter members or music members of the program to play, with them. Currently, 8 universities have a United Sound program, as you can see here. So perhaps your chapter, your band program, school, or Department of Music could partner with the Office of Accessibility at your institution, a nearby K through 12 school, or a disability community center in an area close by to begin a United Sound club. Reach out to the United Sound team. Again, the website is unitedsound.org, so please jot that down, visit it, and they will be able to help you get started. And again, I am more than happy to assist with the process. I started the club at Alabama in Auburn University. So that's the first and the only university in Alabama that has a United Sound club. Empowering women is also outlined in the mission statement. So what are you doing to empower women throughout your chapter and band program? What are some of the things that you're doing? We could learn from each other. Some of us may be doing different things. We have some responses trickling in, and I'll be glad to share in a moment. And then I will provide some tips and strategies for empowering women further. So here we go. We have some responses here. Teaching local Girl Scout troops about music and helping them earn the Music Merit Badge. Yeah, that's a part of the music appreciation, community music development. Hosting a Women in Music speaker event every semester. Providing opportunities for professional development like a conducting band practice band. Oops, there we go. Providing leadership opportunities and safe spaces at a male-dominated school. Interested to see what that looks like. That's a great option there. So I'm going to share some tips and strategies for us to think about. The first step, again, is a reflection piece with ourselves. So reflecting on your upbringing, purpose, and why as an individual, and trying to identify any personal bias that may potentially affect how you view or how your chapter views or how your band program views and treats others. Motivating women in the chapter and band program by sharing pictures, documentaries. There's so much video footage out here on YouTube, articles out here, and other resources that emphasize dynamic women in band at all teaching and professional levels. Don't forget, about the K through 12 teachers, go to all levels, they're out here working hard. Build genuine and respectful relationships with the women in your chapter and band program. Do you really know, the people in your chapter? Do you know about their upbringing? What motivates them? What may be an obstacle for them? Goals and fears. You may be the one person that could help someone if you know this information or direct them, on the path in which someone can help them. And create avenues to enhance mentee-mentor relationship. Do you have that in your chapter or in your band program? And a few other suggestions. Invite women of different ethnicities and backgrounds to guest conduct, speak, whether in person or video conference, adjudicate, facilitate a workshop, clinic, or rehearse. Research, it's always fun. And share information about summer camps, workshops, organizations, and music clinics specifically for women, in band. So we have Athena Music and Leadership Camp for girls. If you've never heard of it, look it up. You might become a camp counselor for one of the Athena camps in the summer. Association of Black Women Band Directors. Women Band Directors International is another organization, and Girls Who Conduct is another organization. There are organizations out here. We got to do some research, got to do some work. Encourage or set up trips, visits to observe several other women band directors at all levels within the profession, and lead reflection discussion or an interview after the observation. I think that would be pretty fun, pretty cool, different. So now that we have begun to think about, what we do in our chapters and band programs, I would like for you all to keep brainstorming about the remainder of the mission statement and work to create solutions and action plans to test out in your respective programs and chapters. Don't just stop here with this presentation and conversation. You have to keep going and see the mission through. So we know what DEIA looks like, and acting and doing the work to achieve it is often where we fall short. And typically that is the result of us not being sensitive to how others experience our organizations, our chapter, band programs, or communities, or how others have pushed away, placed boundaries in front of, or neglected others. So, we have to begin with the end goal in mind. So what we exclude is just as important as what we include, okay? And I would always promote encouraging DEIA training for your chapter and band program, and potential organizations that can do that are your institution's DEI office, or they may have a DEIA office. Your institution's Office of Accessibility. They often provide trainings. Colleagues, professors, and speakers who actively present on DEIA and anti-racist work, such as myself. I am co-founder of ICU, an organization aimed to affirm Black, Indigenous people of color in all fields of music. And this organization provides a safe space for mentorship and networking communities. And what I really love about it is also a resource for people who identify differently to learn of the BIPOC experiences to navigate and champion a more equitable environment for all. This one is really important here. One thing many individuals at institutions and in organizations can do to engage in DEIA work is to first check the data and sit with it. To confront, the systemic social issues in our country, our professions, band programs and in our organizations, it is imperative that we face the facts and ask the hard questions and sit with the difficult truth that maybe we haven't done, the work to actively engage in DEIA work. And a big part of that starts with the data and knowing like what you actually have. Like, what is your population? Who's in your chapter? Who's in the band? Who's in the community? Who's on campus? So analyzing the data will help your organization and band program to move forward in a more innovative and positive manner with recruitment, making spaces more inclusive and accessible. Maybe there are some things in your band program or the band room, band hall that are not accessible for everyone. So start thinking about those things. Varying activities for all, listening to all thoughts and perspectives, and removing barriers for everyone. That is the goal. We have to constantly keep removing barriers. And sometimes we replace barriers, like we put them in our own way without even recognizing it. So short-term goals of DEIA work are the community, which is the band staff, students, understand DEIA work. We can talk about it. We understand what diversity, equity, inclusion, and access actually mean. The community develops vocabulary and skills to discuss and enact DEIA. So yes, we know what this means. We have recognized some of the things that we want to work towards, and we are putting them into motion and putting them into action and doing it. Minoritized communities feel welcome, valued, reflected, affirmed, and that they have a voice in the organization, band program, music department, and school of music, and the institution. Community are aware of and feel prepared to address DEIA issues or are honest and committed into bringing the experts that can help. Sometimes we want to, be the person and we want to help everyone. But sometimes we're not the expert. So you have to bring in the experts that can help. You have to be big enough and honest enough to say, hey, this is not my lane. This is not my wheelhouse. I need to learn more. I want to learn more, and bring in the people that can actually help. Long-term goals. Prospective members of the band and Tau Beta Sigma see that they belong, are seen, and heard. The band program and Tau Beta Sigma chapter better represent the community demographics. So when you're checking the data, remember I spoke about being intentional and being purposeful when you're thinking about intake and your activities and everything that you do. Collaborations, relationships, partnerships, and events on and off campus actively engage in DEIA work, and everyone thrives. It's a good time. So this is personal reflection time. You can take screenshots of these to answer them later. And some of them may sting a little bit. Don't worry, it's okay. Again, this is internal self-reflection. So what do you not know about DEIA? So just take a look at these questions and the bullets below, because these are the things that are going to help you get to this place. And again, feel free to screenshot and answer these questions, reflect on them later. Think about how you're going to answer them and any type of actions that you want to work towards as an individual, or you want your chapter to work towards, or your band program. That's your family. Next slide. What have you been uncomfortable to ask? Are you that person that is welcoming to everyone, or have you made others feel uncomfortable or not welcome? Is there a personal bias that you have? You could be aware of it or you could not, because it could live on the subconscious level, and that's a dangerous level. But you have to get to the root of why you may have a personal bias, and that comes from many things. It could be your upbringing, it could be childhood trauma, it could be a bad personal experience or relationship, assumptions, just a lack of awareness all around. And are there things you want to learn? And if so, how are you going to go about that action? We can't just stop at the discussion piece. You have to move past the discussion. You got to get to the action, the doing. So all DEIA work starts with courageous conversations. I will tell you that, and honesty. Some of the most common responses to starting courageous conversations are, but I don't know who to talk to. Or, you know what, I don't even know where to start. Or, I don't know what to say or how to feel. And that's okay. Like, you have to be honest about it. Right now, America, has become and will continue to evolve as a diverse nation. Right now, more than half of students identify with cultural intersections outside of Europe. Many identify as having a disability, being part of the Black, Indigenous people of color community, or being part of the LGBTQIA plus community. So what are some of the things we can do? Number one is to stay engaged. Learn how to code switch, learn a new language or dialect, and learn how to immerse yourself in cultures outside of your own. And these are just some methods for engagement, but they're not limited to these things for staying engaged. Speak your truth. If something is outside of your area of expertise, you may need to do some research, engage in activities, and have discussions with the experts, as I mentioned before. It's okay to not know everything or to not be in charge all of the time. You have to sit back and let the people that, can really help out. And I mean, the experts may be your chapter members. The experts may be other members in the band. It could be your band director and your staff, so you just never know. Other colleagues, teachers, friends that may not be in the band that see different perspectives outside of, you always thinking about being in the band square, right? Experience discomfort. Whatever makes you uncomfortable is your biggest opportunity for growth. So you have to go ahead and you have to lean into things, even when you don't want to, even when you're scared, when you're fearful. Like, you have to lean into it to see what the action will be after so that you can continue to grow. Take risks. If you are in a space that is outside of your norm or your usual, you have to realize that that space is all rooted in sameness. So, like, if you're always comfortable, everything feels just right to you, like, that is a comfort zone for you. But then as soon as you get into a space where things are like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on, that is a space of, outside of your norm, outside of your sameness. So you have to take risk. And I mean, that's another part of experiencing discomfort in order to grow. And the last one is to expect and accept non-closure or a lack of immediate success. Just because you are working towards DEIA and you are trying things and doing things, it doesn't mean that you're going to be successful overnight. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to DEIA work. This work is ongoing. It doesn't end. It's continuous. Just like some of the things, in our history of the country, like, they're ongoing. They're continuous. It doesn't end. And neither does DEIA work. So I just want to say thank you for being in this space with me today. Advocating for change. We went through, a lot. We went into some vulnerable spaces and uncomfortable spaces, probably for some. So thank you for sharing your perspectives, and thanks for the work that you will embark upon when you return to your respective places and you go back and, give the news to your chapter members, your band directors, your programs. You know, don't just stop here again with this presentation or this discussion and dialogue. This is just one step. So, you know, if you don't keep forging ahead to put plans and solutions discussed into motion, you will only end up with having conversations with no measurements and no results. And we call that lip service, okay? It's easy to provide lip service and say that, oh, I'm going to do this, or we were doing this, and then what happened, you know? That's just lip service. We want to see actionable progress. My contact information is listed here if you desire to reach me. You can always look me up on the Butler School of Music's website at the University of Texas at Austin. And if you would like to have access to the spreadsheet of responses from this presentation, then please submit your email address here. And I will be sure to clean that spreadsheet up and get it looking, you know, nice, and to send it to everyone here that's with me today. And anyone else, if you're watching on the YouTube page, you can always send me an email and ask for that spreadsheet. I'll be happy to send, again, because it's about helping each other.